Do you ever get hungry? Do you ever get tired? Do you ever feel sexually aroused? Yeah, I know. Everyone does, right? Well, all these types of feelings, among others, are examples of how your body communicates to you from the body to your mind. But is that a communication channel that is a one-way street, or can we communicate back to the body also? Go. Welcome to the I Am Podcast, where we answer all the questions about spirituality and inner peace that you ever wanted to ask, and where we learn the secrets of humanity and divinity through a better understanding of both. I am your host, Sean Webb. Now, I usually start the shoe with a reminder that these first 25 episodes are a subset of this podcast called the Body, Mind, Spirit 101. And these first episodes are step one to getting us on a common vocabulary so that we can get to step two, which is making your life awesome and bringing you a permanent and lasting inner peace. And it's here that I usually say that you should go get back and watch the back episodes to get the full effect of this episode. But today, you don't necessarily need all those back episodes to fully understand this one. See, our previous episodes, we talk about the scientific model of existence that explains stuff that hasn't been explained in the world up until now, including why do I experience pain and suffering? Where do my negative emotions come from and why do they come about? How can I reduce the emotional turmoil in my life? And the whole thing is based on scientific observations. But this episode is a little less scientific in nature, and it's going to be the first of a few touchy-feely, can't really put your finger on it discussions about stuff that science hasn't really proven out yet, mainly due to science's inability to measure our personal, within our body experiences. So we're not totally going over the rainbow yet, but trust that I am the nut job who will take you there. So today, we're going to acknowledge the communication channels that exist between your body and your mind. And they do exist because we experience them all day, every day. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, we discussed in the previous couple episodes how our bodies are made up of trillions of living cells. And it can be proven through observation that these cells have an intelligence and a consciousness that transcends our own or is separate from our own. In fact, in the last episode, we proved that your cells have more control and more responsibility over the body than you or I do. And when we do something that actually contradicts the immediate health of the body, the cell's reason for existence, our control of our own bodies gets taken from us by those cells and we're rendered unconscious. And it's accepted science that cells talk to each other and that they work in synergy with each other to sustain life. But can your body's cells do everything solo in their quest for survival? Can they control the muscles to reach out and get the food and water and put it in the mouth? Aha! No, they can't, which is where the partnership with our consciousness comes in. See, the cells take care of inside the body really well. Anything that passes the barrier of our organ called our skin, our body takes responsibility for. But anything outside our skin, our cells kind of need help with. Food, sex, a comfortable place to sleep right after sex, and our cells really need help with making decisions about outside the body stuff also. Is this place where we're standing a safe place to stand? They don't know. Is this sound that we're hearing right now important to us? Is that animal we're seeing right now a danger to us? Our sensory input is all about communication from the body to the mind in the spirit of a partnership for continued mutual survival. Visual, auditory, olfactory, taste, touch, our senses get delivered to us through a body-mind communication channel. And the other communications come through as feelings. The body's need for food, the body's need for rest, the body's goal to replicate more cells through reproduction. This is when we feel things like hunger pains, and this is when we feel tired, and this is when we get that urge to have sex with that cute blonde. And we call these things, including the sex drive, natural urges, but that's kind of BS. Because the cells are intelligent and they're conscious and they have their own agenda, and everything that they communicate to us is logical if you look at it from their perspective. They understand the micro view, they don't quite get the macro view, so they need to constantly ask, can we have sex now? Can we have sex now? Can we have sex now? Okay, how about now? Then something more important comes up. Whoa, okay, we're hungry. Go order a pizza. So it's easy to see that the communication channels are wide open from the body to the mind. But are they also open from the mind to the body? Because that's where some really interesting stuff can occur in our human existence. Well, in one facet of answering whether there is a mind-to-body communication channel, we can summarily answer that there is. We can see that there is a communication channel from our mind to our bodies because we can reach out and pick up a cup of tea. So we know there's a communication channel between our minds and our bodies because we use our bodies for mindful purposes daily. But here's the thing. What about other ways to communicate from the mind to the body? How about with improving your health or curing an illness? Is there a communication channel to influence the body in that way? Well, scientific evidence suggests that there is. Science suggests that there are ways to take control of your body's functions and change them if you need to. In fact, some people do it all the time. For instance, did you know that you can lower your blood pressure through your mind? This is out of an article published by Science Daily. People with high blood pressure may find relief from transcendental meditation, according to a definitive new meta-analysis of 107 published studies on stress reduction programs and high blood pressure, which will be published in the December issue of Current Hypertension Report, which is a medical journal. The transcendental meditation technique produces a statistically significant reduction in high blood pressure that is not found with other forms of relaxation, meditation, biofeedback, or stress management. The new meta-analysis reviewed randomized control trials of all stress reduction and relaxation methods in participants with high blood pressure that have been published in peer-reviewed scientific journals. Now, this study was a meta-analysis of 107 peer-reviewed studies where the subjects weren't focusing on reducing their blood pressure, but that reduction happened because they took time to quiet their minds and look within, which in turn improved the health of their bodies. So if you practice transcendental meditation, the studies show that your blood pressure would be reduced. But just think, imagine what you could do if you were to focus on reducing your blood pressure consciously. Hundreds of stories have been told of Indian yogis who can bury themselves underground for a week at a time or more without food, without water, which would kill you or me in just 5 days, maximum. More like 3, actually, but they survived because they consciously reduced their heart rate to 4 to 7 beats per minute, reduced their metabolism, and thus reduced their body's need for nourishment. In fact, there's one yogi that claims he hasn't consumed food or water for years, which sounds totally nuts, right? I mean, I didn't believe it. Until you find out that he was invited to India's most advanced hospital by India's Ministry of Health, where they tested his claim and put him under 24/7 surveillance with 3 camera angles, where 30 doctors watch him not eat, not drink, and not even go to the bathroom for 14 days. And you could say, well, I could do that. Well, no, you can't. Every doctor in the world will tell you that it's medically impossible to go without water intake for 14 days. Most people die after 3 days, but he did 14, if you believe India's equivalent of Johns Hopkins. And he not only did it, but the doctor in charge said the man wasn't even deteriorating. He was walking, talking, and through multiple blood tests and monitoring, at over 80 years old, they said he was as healthy as a 25-year-old on day 14. You can read about him in the archives of my written blog at IamSpirituality.com. I have links to the story where you can actually watch video. Okay, so those are examples of how the mind-body connection can be used to better control the body. But how about healing an illness? Can you utilize your mind-body communication channel to tell your body to heal whatever ails you? Well, science knows that we certainly can do it when we're not thinking about it. The placebo effect is so well known worldwide, where you think you're taking a medicine but you're not actually taking a medicine and you cure yourself anyway. The doctors now prescribe placebos regularly so that people will heal themselves without the dangerous side effects of taking actual drugs. That's nothing more than the mind at work on the body there. And we've all heard stories about miracle recoveries, like the story of Norman Cousins. He got ankylosing spondylitis, I think is how it's pronounced, which is basically a death sentence, right? So he checked himself out of the hospital, got a hotel room, collected a number of Marx Brothers movies, loaded up on the vitamin C, and cured his AS, a supposedly incurable disease. And he cured it with laughter. I met a man named Terry McBride about a month ago who tells a story about how he fell victim to the worst E. coli infection in recorded medical history back during the time that he got it. He had E. coli all throughout his spine, his hips, his intestines, his groin, his legs. Doctors told him that they didn't expect him to live very long, and that if he did, he was going to lose the use of both of his legs, so he'd be in a wheelchair for the rest of his life. Then when they cut into him for a radical surgery, around-the-clock surgery, like 24 hours, where a group of surgeons tag-teamed him for an operation just to try to scrape it all out, they wound up taking most of his intestines out. And when they woke him up, they told him that along with the other bad news, that he would also be wearing a colostomy bag for the rest of his shortened life. I think he was like 23 at the time. So imagine getting that news. Long story short, when I met the man a month ago, he didn't have a colostomy bag. He was walking around on two legs without so much as a limp. And even though he's in his 60s now, well beyond having outlived his expected lifespan, he travels 40 weeks out of the year to speaking engagements all over the country. The man reached deep down inside, found the power of the spirit within, and then consciously healed himself. And he has a book about it called The Hell I Can't. You can check it out at his website, terrymcbride.net. Now, I've shared with you some amazing examples of seemingly superhuman feats, but are these people really superhuman? No, not at all. And they would tell you so, by the way. Indian yogis are the most unassuming bunch you could meet, and Terry McBride, I can tell you, is as down to earth as they come. The only difference between them being able to control their bodies and heal themselves and you sitting there and being amazed by it is that they believe they can will their bodies to change. And you don't. That's it. That's the only difference. There is a communication channel from the mind to the body that can do seemingly miraculous and superhuman things to improve your health. And you're going to take a baby step right now in learning how to do that. Because here is your homework. It's pretty simple. I want you to go sit down in a chair somewhere, and I want you to get a wristwatch and find your pulse on your wrist. If you have a heart rate monitor, all the better. Now, sit for a minute and just monitor your heart rate. Figure it out, or watch the readout if you have an electronic monitor. Now, after you know what it is, I want you to start to willfully slow your heart rate. You could do this. It'll feel a little weird at first, and you may freak yourself out because you may actually feel your heart responding to you, but I know for a fact that if you can concentrate and control your breathing and focus your mind on slowing your heart, you will reduce your heart rate 5 to 10 beats per minute. Your first time out of the gate even. If for some reason you can't practice this week until you can do it, because if you sincerely try it, you will be able to slow your heart rate. And don't be scared, you can't stop your heart by accident. It'll feel a little weird, and that trepidation might influence your capability to slow your heart rate. But if you can stop and concentrate and focus on slowing your heart rate, it'll blow your mind when you do it. Now, why do we need to do this? Is there a positive health effect to slowing your heart down a tad for a few minutes? No. But you need to understand that you can communicate with your body through your mind-to-body communication channel. And you can get your body to respond on things that you've been told are autonomic and out of your control, like your heartbeat. And when you realize that, we've opened the door to a whole new world for you. Then go download the audiobook Reinventing the Body, Resurrecting the Soul by Deepak Chopra. You can get it for free if you sign up for our 14-day free trial at www.audibletrial.com/IamSpirituality. Audio is a great place to get the authors themselves to read their books to you, and Deepak reads his own. Audible has 83,000 titles to choose from, and you can get one free right now at audibletrial.com/IamSpirituality. Next week, we're going to touch on the spirit, that thing that we've kind of been avoiding up until now. Subscribe if you already haven't, because this shit's about to get real. And don't forget to write us a review on iTunes, and stop by to say hi on Facebook, facebook.com/IamSpirituality. You can share this episode with your friends there. In fact, please do. See you next week. Peace.